You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
All right, so next guest we have got Mel. Mel is a retired steelworker. Mel, thanks for calling in. What you got for us?
I met you down at the rally in Russelville. And I worked at the paper mill in Portland with Brother Joe Marshall. I served with him on the board at local 61.
Yep.
And you and I were having a conversation, and he said that y'all did the teachers union last week.
Yeah.
And I made a comment to him, and he wanted me to share it.
All right.
He wanted me to share with you what I shared with him.
There we go. That's much better.
Yeah, that was better. I appreciate that. Yeah, you made a comment to Joe. Joe is he's a good brother. He's a friend of the show. He is also a retired steelworker. We've had a couple conversations with him on the air. If you want to go back and look at those, you can find us on YouTube at the Valley Labor Report. We've got some good conversations with Joe. So yeah, you made a comment. We had Brother Kenzo Shibata. He is the host of Class Time Podcast, and he's the functional vice president of the Chicago Teachers Union. You said that you were talking to him, and he recommended you chat with us about what you had to say.
Yeah, he wanted me to share with y'all what I said to him.
Lay it on us.
Every union would like to be in the position that the teachers unions are in this country.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The number one, you can't offshore a teacher.
Right.
You can't offshore a teacher, and good luck replacing those teachers they're lucky to fully staff a school with teachers, with good teachers. And in normal conditions, in one of the conversations he said y'all were having was about the vaccines and distributing the vaccines to the teachers. Under normal conditions, in a normal year, not a pandemic condition, a schoolroom is a petri dish to begin with.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then along comes a pandemic. I think the teachers should have been on the list in front of the line to start with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just common sense.
Yeah.
And here they are having to negotiate to try to get the vaccines,
Well, and not even just the vaccines. I don't think there are even very many teachers unions across the country that are saying we don't want to open until we get the vaccines. They're saying we want to make sure we want to make sure we've got smaller classroom sizes so that we can properly do social distancing. We want to make sure that we've got good ventilation. We want to make sure that we've got all of these things, and all these articles saying, oh yeah, schools can reopen safely if, like, everybody talks about schools can reopen safely. You've got folks on left type folks even saying that schools can reopen safely, but they leave out what all of the science actually says. Schools can reopen safely if you have proper ventilation. Schools can reopen safely if you do social distancing properly. And like, they totally gloss over that, and they just say the first part. And, you can go back and you can listen to our interview with Kenzo, and you can listen to his podcast. You can, like, this brother has a passion for teaching, and so does, like, teachers don't go into this to get rich. They love the kids, they love what they do, and they want to be back in the classroom, but the administrations are making it so hard for them to feel justified in going back.
But I get so tired of them hammering, in the conservative media, hammering those teachers' unions. And like I said, when I began the conversation, every union would like to be in the position that the teachers are in, because, number one, you can't be offshored. And like I said, they have a difficult enough time getting a full staff,
Yeah, well, it's our hope that we can build the labor movement back to where we've seen it in the past, and everybody can be in the position. Now, granted, there'll still be an ability to offshore, but if we get the labor movement to where we need it to be, then the threat of offshoring will shut down industries upon industries in solidarity movements and keep that work here. And that's the biggest thing, is getting our numbers back up to where we have the leverage in the communities where they're threatening to offshore, and we're everybody walks, not just one group. Everybody walks and says we're not going to stand for it.
Yeah, and you mentioned the fact about you can't offshore a teacher's job. That's so important for teachers, but also for so many of our jobs are going into the service sector and the retail industry now. You can't offshore a burger flipper, which that's the way that those jobs are flippantly described, to try to demean the value of the labor that those folks produce. You can't offshore people at this Amazon warehouse who are distributing goods. You can't offshore retail workers. These are jobs that have to be done here, and it's really a shame that they have been so kind of disorganized, because they've really got more leverage even than folks.
You don't think they do that on purpose?
Yeah, well, that's exactly why.
You don't think they call them burger flippers and try to demean them so they don't organize, so they think there's no hope for me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mel, you're exactly right. Every worker should be as powerful as the teachers unions. And man, imagine what a good society we would have if every worker when every worker has a union with as much sway as the teachers unions, and we can all act in concert together, fighting for ourselves and for one another. That'll be a great world.
Another industry I'd just like to make an example of is that I've always felt and long felt, and I know you have the Teamsters Union, and they're strong for the common carriers, but there's any number of large trucking companies across the United States, the large fleets that's got their own drivers. But to me, the trucking industry is ripe for organization if somebody just did it right.
Yeah, especially in the South.
Yeah,
especially in the South. Oh, yeah. We need those teamsters out there working, and I can guarantee you we'll work with any of them. We'll work with any of them. Try to get them organized.
And it's finally circled back around, and all the laws surrounding trucking is you have to have the CDLs. You can only possess one CDL. Mm-hmm. You have to pass drug screens in order to operate a semi. I felt for a long time that it's ripe for organization. I do.
Yeah, and I mean, it's exactly like those workers down at the Amazon facility. If they would just realize how much power they have, the world come to a stop if we stop getting our 2-day shipping. People will be upset, and they'll be upset with Amazon, and it'll make Amazon cave, and they'll stop losing their profits. And the same with same with the trucking industry. Like if all the truckers in the country decided, we're gonna pull over on the side of the road until X happens, X would happen. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And it's important to point out when you talk about worker power, because we've talked to people even on the calls with Amazon that says, well, I'm pretty happy with my job. I don't really have that big of an issue.
Right.
It's important to point out that this is bigger than you. Right. This is bigger than me. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than Joe or Mel or anyone else. This is about community. Mm-hmm. It goes back to what we were founded on. The United States, the union that we are, is looking out for everybody, not just I'm happy right now. I don't have any problems, so screw everybody else. That ain't the mentality that we should have.
Yeah.
Mel, we appreciate you calling in, brother.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
If I can make one more comment.
Sure, go ahead.
You're often talking about internal organizing inside the facilities, and you'll always have a conversation. Why should I be a member of the union?
Mm-hmm.
And never lose sight in Alabama. The number one issue for me for a long time. Alabama is an at-will state.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can be fired for the right reason, the wrong reason, or no reason.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the only exclusion to that is if you're under a union contract that says they have to have just cause.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right. Just cause, those 2 words
Alabama,
are more important than anything.
Yes, and in most labor agreements, you'll always have just cause in the contract.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly right.
And with that, I'll let you go. I took up too much of your time already.
No, we enjoyed it. Thank you so
it.
much for calling in, brother. I thank you so much. You have a good one. All right.
Just cause. That's something that, I mean, see, that's what the older hands bring to the conversation. I mean, I gloss over, we never cover just cause, and that's an important aspect.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, because you can't just be fired because the boss is having a bad day. You've got laid out in your contract the things that you can be disciplined for. You've got laid out progressive discipline, and you've got laid out the mechanisms for actually being fired, and they have to be followed because the company agreed to that contract. Yeah. I mean, it's really so important, for folks to get organized. Go to thevalleylaborreport.org and get yourself a hat. We have got new hats now. New hats from a new vendor. I like them better personally. There's a few reasons. For one, the biggest reason, we've got the Union Bug right here. If you're watching on the stream, we've got the Union Bug right there on the front of the hat, right beside our logo.
Let me see the hat.
Let you see the hat. It's really, really nice. I like it a lot. David's showing it off, making me expose my hat head to the world.
Your hair looks wonderful.
It's great. You do not, contrary to the pictures that David tweeted out, you do not have to wear it as a flat bill. I don't know what has gotten into him, but
you can if you want to go.
If you want to look absurd.
I thought that was a thing.
Yeah, I told David when he tweeted that picture out, I was like, man, I haven't worn a flat bill since I was like 12.
Dude, I see maybe it's because I'm like listen to a lot of rap, but
maybe I don't know.
I see everybody in the scene wearing these.
I don't know. I look absurd when I wear a flat bill. So
well, I think everybody does, but regardless, I never wore them when they were in style. So I thought it was absurd then. But
yeah, and like the structure of the hat, we had a smaller run with another shop a while back. And we did switch vendors. The structure of this hat is just better. I think it's a different material, and I like it better. It's in my opinion, it's a better hat. And you can go to our website, thevalleylaborreport.org, snag you one of them. They are $35 with shipping, so that's $35 and that's it. We'll ship it to you wherever you are. It's great. I love it. I am very, very happy with the hat, and so you should snag one while you can. So thanks for tuning in, folks. Here's an announcement right at the top. The North Alabama DSA is holding a necessities drive every Saturday. Every Saturday, that means this Saturday too, from 3 to 5 p.m. at the IBEW Local 558 Union Hall on Clinton Avenue here in Huntsville, right across from Yellowhammer and Campus 805. So if you're in the area, you want to drop off some clothes, some non-perishable food items, blankets, then swing by the IBEW Union Hall, right across from Yellowhammer and Campus 805 from 3 to 5 p.m. this Saturday and every Saturday. All donations will be forwarded to the Manna House. Follow at DSA North Alabama on Twitter for more information. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week, get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/The Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. If you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, you can search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments throughout and release those throughout the week. So if there's one thing that you might be interested in, you can go back and see all the topics that we've talked about in the past. We also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps. So to see if we are on your listening platform of choice, go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. We do now have a website, thevalleylaborreport.org. Going to talk more about that in just a a second. And finally, if you appreciate our work and want to help us stay on the air, consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.